All right, let's just jump right in. If you're part of a nonprofit, you probably know that web hosting can feel like this huge, complicated, and expensive problem. Well, it really doesn't have to be. We're about to go on a guided journey to solve that exact issue, and we're going to do it using the power of AWS and WordPress.
So let me start with a big question. One that might sound a little too good to be true, especially if you're a nonprofit leader who's always thinking about the budget. What if your website hosting was completely free?
And no, that's not just a fantasy. Through the AWS Nonprofit Credit Program, which you can get via TechSoup, your organization can get up to $5,000 in promotional credits. And get this, that's not a one-time thing. We're talking every single year to cover your cloud costs.
Now, getting your hands on that amazing value isn't as simple as flipping a switch. You've got to choose the right path for your specific mission. So we're going to break down the 4 distinct journeys you can take to host your WordPress site on AWS.
First up, we've got the DIY path. This is for the real builders out there, the organizations that have the tech skills and really want to roll up their sleeves and build their hosting environment from scratch. This gives you total, absolute control over every little piece.
Path number 2 is the automated path. Think of this as the best of both worlds, kind of like a powerful hybrid approach. You still own everything. It's all in your AWS account, but you use an automation platform, something like DevPanel, to handle all the tricky stuff like server configurations, updates, and security.
Our third option, that's the all-inclusive path. This one is the ultimate hands-off, set it and forget it approach. It's kind of like buying a condo. You get this fantastic space to live in, but a company like WP Engine or Pantheon manages the whole building for you. And finally, we have the expert path. With this one, you're not just buying a product, you're actually hiring a dedicated team. It's called an AWS Managed Service Provider, or MSP. They design, build, and manage your entire hosting setup for you, but the whole thing still belongs to you.
So how on earth do you choose? Well, the right decision for your nonprofit really just comes down to a balancing act. You've got to weigh 3 critical things: how much control you need, the total cost you can handle, and the level of complexity your team is ready for. Let's break that down.
Okay, digging into the DIY path. The huge upside is you have absolute 100% control over your infrastructure. And you can use those AWS credits to get your hosting bill down to practically zero. But the downside is a big one. You need deep, specialized DevOps expertise to build it and, just as importantly, to maintain it.
And when I say expertise, I really mean it. A manual setup can easily take 2 to 4 weeks just to get it up and running. And the kind of engineer who can do that right, they typically have a salary of, well over $100,000 a year. That is a serious investment of time and money.
Now, what's so cool about the automated path with DevPanel is that you get the best of both worlds. You get to use your AWS credits, and you totally avoid vendor lock-in. That means you're not stuck with one company forever because you own the infrastructure. The platform itself is free, and the only cost you might run into is for optional hourly support if you ever need a hand.
And here's a perfect real-world example of the impact. Parents Helping Parents, a nonprofit out in San Jose, completely wiped out their $1,800 a year hosting bill. They switched to this model, used their credits, and now just one person manages over 30 websites from a simple dashboard. How cool is that?
So, what exactly is DevPanel? Well, think of it like a smart control panel that you install inside your own AWS account. It gives you all the convenience you'd get from a managed platform, but you, and only you, keep 100% of the ownership and control.
All right, let's talk about the all-inclusive path. The upside is pretty obvious. It's super, super easy. Companies like WP Engine and Pantheon handle literally everything. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. You cannot use your AWS nonprofit credits with them. Why? Because the hosting isn't in your account. It's in theirs. So yeah, the trade-offs here are pretty significant. You've got high vendor lock-in, which makes it a real pain to move your site later. Their pricing is often based on how many visitors you get, which can get crazy expensive if you grow. And you'll probably end up paying extra fees for premium features that you might get for free somewhere else.
Last but not least, the expert path. Hiring an AWS MSP gets you access to some seriously top-tier expertise and dedicated support. And you still own your own account. The main downside? Well, it's the cost. You're looking at some pretty significant monthly service fees.
So who is this really for? This path is pretty much essential for organizations that have very specific, very high-stakes needs. If you handle sensitive data and you need to be compliant with regulations like HIPAA, the one for health information, or SOC 2 for data security, or if your systems are so critical that even a minute of downtime is a disaster, then an MSP is your best bet.
Okay, we've walked through all 4 paths. Now for the fun part. Let's put them all side by side. This is your ultimate cheat sheet, an at-a-glance guide to help you make a really clear decision based on what truly matters to your organization. Just take a look at this table. The difference is pretty stark, right? Let's go through the big questions. First, can you use your AWS credits? Well, only with the DIY, automated, and expert paths, the ones where you actually own the account. Next, do you need in-house DevOps wizards? Nope, only for the true DIY path. And check out the vendor lock-in. It's way, way higher with those all-inclusive platforms. And this chart, this really says it all. Just look at the typical monthly costs. The paths that let you use those AWS credits, DIY and automated, can bring your infrastructure bill down to practically zero. The all-inclusive and expert paths, well, they offer more service, but they come with a much, much higher price tag every single month.
Okay, let's bring this all home. How do you actually use this information? I'm going to give you some tailored recommendations right now, based on the size and the needs of your nonprofit.
Listen, if you're a small nonprofit, say with a budget under $500K, the recommendation is crystal clear. Go with the automated path. Use DevPanel on AWS. You'll completely maximize your nonprofit credits, you won't need technical staff, and you can get enterprise-level hosting for what could be $0 a month. It's a no-brainer.
Now, for mid-size and large nonprofits, especially if you have those compliance needs or uptime is absolutely critical, your best fit is likely a DevPanel Enterprise plan, which adds things like SLAs, that's basically a guarantee for your website's uptime, and dedicated support, or partnering directly with an AWS MSP who can give you that comprehensive, hands-on management.
So let's end this where we began, with a really important question for you. Because this isn't just a tech decision, it's a strategic one. Is your current hosting a tool that's actually helping you, pushing your work forward, or is it an obstacle because of cost, because of complexity that's holding your mission back? The right path for you is out there.